Welcome everybody to episode 103. Dang, I don't even know. I don't even know what episode it is. It's 103, 102, one of the two.
It was going to
Today
be 101.
you might be 101 too, though. I don't think you are. I think you're 102. I
Okay.
think you're 102. Either way, you're a very important guest. So this is today I got with me the most famous person I know. My near and dear friend Nick Walker Fitness. Nick, you want to just because again I'm just really bad at explaining what people are doing. Can you just explain to everybody like who you are, what you do, and why you have like this fame now?
Yeah, totally. So currently, fundamentally, I guess you would say I'm an influencer. I don't love the word influencer. I think you and I have talked about this before.
Yeah.
So fundamentally, I guess I would say I'm a content creator that tries to provide value in the fitness, motivation, lifestyle industry. Just trying to encourage people to live a healthier lifestyle mentally and physically, but most importantly, mentally. So kind of, background wise, I was a college baseball player, and that's kind of how we met through a teammate. And then I kind of just went through the whole thing of, hey, I'm not going to play baseball the rest of my life, and I'm only self-identified as a baseball player. What's something I can do to prove to myself that I can still enjoy what I do, but also provide value? And long story short, I started posting, and here we are today.
Yeah, yeah. And now you've come a long way. And I think honestly, before we get into I have a segment I want to do first, but before we get into that, I want to say, because I feel like you'll like this, the obviously your physical, your workouts, like the regimens, any like sponsors you have with like, anything, like any like protein powder, anything. It's all great, but it's the mentality. It's exactly what you were saying. It's the mental stuff that you do. And like I think it's the anything that you do like motivation wise, whatever keeps you ticking, it's very obvious throughout everything that you post. And I just think that that is what really is what has given you your success. As from what I've seen, from what I know of you, I know that it's the mental stuff. It's completely true that
Mhm.
that's what's giving you your success.
I
um
appreciate that.
yeah, of course.
It's it means
Yeah,
a lot when somebody I know can see that it translates both as who I am and on camera.
for sure.
So
It's the
appreciate it.
exact same. It's sickeningly the exact same. It makes me sick. So we're gonna start actually with a segment though. I want to try starting with celebrities eating foods. This was a smash hit my last time I did this. But this time we're gonna add a little bit of like a little bit of a twist to it. So I
Okay.
feel like my error with the last time I did this was I said like athletes and famous people, and we think of them having very good diets, and they typically do, because they need to stay in shape. So we're gonna call this one "Celebrities Eating Foods Cheat Day Edition." Okay,
Mm,
because this is you're a fitness guy, and we need to talk about
yep.
not the meal that you would always eat because you eat the same things probably every day, but the cheat day. And since we're starting with celebrities, and by a lot of accounts, you are a celebrity. We're gonna start with you first. What
Oh
food do you envision yourself eating on a cheat day?
God, I'm such a weirdo because I'm like a cheat day for me would be like eat 3 pounds of rice. But I would say the first thing off the top of my head is give me some French toast. Give me every topping you can imagine on it. Give me some chocolate chips. I mean, you've seen me eat whatever's in sight, but the French toast is the way to my heart, and then an ice cream. If we can put it all together, I mean, and gosh, the world I live in, it's so like regimented and like, oh, you have to eat this, you have to eat that. Like, don't get me wrong, I have my cheat day, like a Friday night. Bring on the ice cream, and no, it's not like the serving size recommended. It's give me the whole pint. So,
Right, right, right,
um,
right. Think of the Ben and Jerry's. The Ben and Jerry's ain't getting saved another day.
specifically Ben and Jerry's. I don't know all the crazy names they have. I just gotta go and read them. There's a local market that I just like. Oh, the chocolate chip cookie dough. But
The
that's
Tonight
me.
Dough. The Tonight Dough, I
Yeah.
think it's called. It's the
What's
Jimmy
tonight?
Fallon. It's the Jimmy Fallon one. It's called
Oh
the
yeah, 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 yeah. That's right. Yep.
right. So
Hey,
that one's pretty
you
bad.
know your ice creams.
Hey, I know better than anybody. When it comes to Ben and Jerry's, I've bought more Ben and Jerry's than I'm proud to say, but it's too good. And yeah, it's a one serving. If you ask me, it's one serving, but like no, not
Yeah.
most.
You don't
So
give
yeah,
something out that small that's not one serving.
It's what I'm saying. Like everyone's like, yo, like that's like 3 days. I'm like, 3 days? What 3 days are you talking about? That's
Right?
one. I got an hour with that thing.
There's no such thing.
Yeah. So I had you down because I had heard some legend while you were up at the Cape. This may be true, may not be true, of the amount of burgers that you had eaten in one setting. And I was thinking in my mind, if he's gonna have a cheat day, he might just ball up with some burgers, like classic.
See, yeah, and like anything, so that's my problem. It's not a problem because I can like if it's a day, I'm going all out on anything, and that's probably not the best of advice for someone that's looking to, you know, get into the lifestyle. But like what I would recommend is like have one meal, have a workout around it, and make sure that you're using it as fuel. I kind of go against my own words, and like that day specifically, I had Seamus was making four double burgers, right? He made me four, and I had the brioche buns.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, you were there. Literally, the next 4 days, it took me to get over that because my stomach was in a knot,
Yeah,
and
your stomach
I
get
don't know if
used
that's
to it.
deeper issues. Yeah, but four, yeah, eight
That's
patties of burgers. That's
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 just
okay to shove my face with.
that's a good one. So I wanted to start with you because at least like we don't even have to imagine you eating it. Like you can just say what you eat. So that's a good one.
Yeah,
Um,
easy.
all right, next. How about Dwayne the Rock Johnson? What do you see him eating on a cheat day?
I see him. I see him going crazy on some kind of chicken tenders. Some kind
Mm,
of. He seems so. He seems like he wouldn't go as far to be like to go to the Ben and Jerry's. Like
okay,
it would still be
that's
it
too
would still
much.
be on the yeah, like the chicken. At least he knows like I'm having chicken. Like if breaded steak tenders were a thing, he'd be having steak tenders.
Hmm.
But I don't know. I could see him going to McDonald's and order like a 50-piece McNugget.
Yes, like fried chicken. It's just except
Yeah.
that's just like it's not good for you, but you can still maybe make an excuse. You know,
Smacking some mashed potatoes and gravy with what's that
potatoes.
one at K what's the one at KFC? They've got like corn, cheese, the
Yes.
popcorn chicken. I haven't had that in a
Mhm.
minute.
See, that makes sense to me. The gravy on some mashed potatoes, that's very
hmm
rock to me. I really
hmm
like that. There's one more I was thinking about
I
with him.
I feel like I've seen him do a cheat day something, and I think it was very similar actually to what I said. I think he's a big pancake guy. I could be completely wrong. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm gonna have to look that up. But
yeah. But we all have cheat days. We all have
yeah,
cheat days.
well, some of us more than others.
Yeah, for sure. Every day's a cheat day. I mean, recently, dude, you don't even want to hear what I've been eating. You'd be so disappointed. Anyway, okay. So next, let's go with David Goggins. What do you think, David Goggins? I think honestly, I think he's the one guy that doesn't have cheat days. I'm gonna be completely honest.
Rocks. He just put some salt on some rock, put like icing on like take the icing off a cake, put it on a rock. Um, golly, I don't. Does he eat?
I don't know, dude. I think he might just like. I think he's got like IVs that just like inject shit into him straight up. Like I wouldn't be shocked. Stay hard, you know. Like
I really have no clue. Like, I mean, maybe some like cauliflower pizza with,
yeah, he would still sneak it
like it's got to be something super carb heavy because he's going to go out and run 373 miles the next day.
up.
I'm going pizza.
Pizza,
I've,
pizza.
I've I also I think I'm on the train that I don't believe he eats. So I'm going to
Yeah,
stick to that opinion.
he don't even eat like at all. He just
No, he's too mentally tough for food.
stay hard. Like, he's just
Yeah.
like put the food down. Who's gonna carry the box? You're
Who's gonna
carrying
get?
food. I can carry the box. That dude's he's so funny. And
Dude,
not funny like I'm making fun of him. It's just funny that like it's even possible to be like that. Like it's just funny.
it's there's a lot of truth to it. He's extreme, but if we can take like little bits and pieces of what he does in his lifestyle, I mean, I have a very similar mentality. But obviously I'm not a Navy SEAL and I'm not, but his little, I mean, it's 1% better every day, right? It's the same stuff that I talk about, largely because I look up to him as well. His books are really good. I don't know if you've read them, but
I have not, but I know that I need to read them. I know I've
mhm.
been told many times I need to read them. So I
Hey.
put my next read. Um, all right, let's get a female in the mix. How about Simone Biles, Olympian?
Oh, she strikes me. Yeah, she is in shape. Trying to think. She's got to stay agile. She's got to stay. She'd probably go out and do a few backflips. I'm going. She strikes me as ice cream. Some kind of like
Yep.
crazy hot fudge sundae. Um, I don't know. These are also just things that my brain goes to when I'm thinking of freaking cheat food, and I
Yeah,
could
I
eat it
think of like
all.
sweets though too. I think of like a sweet something like tasty, like not so
What
much
do you
not like
see her eating?
heavy. I probably if I'm gonna I'm on it's got I got a weird one. I got a weird one. I got tiramisu.
Ooh,
I just see her
some.
just mocking tiramisu.
Hmm.
I don't know
I don't know
why.
why. When you said that, I thought of creme brulee,
Creme brulee,
a
it's just
scoop of
something like
vanilla ice cream.
I don't know. It's like something about like something uniquely small but like sweet, like really sweet.
Hmm.
I could see her like that being
Kind, kind of like her. Like she's small, but just like it's overtaking.
exactly. So that makes a
Well,
lot of
we
sense.
just
It matches her
we just got
personality.
deep.
We got really deep. We got really, really. All right, I'm gonna go with some local flavor here next. How about this is the last one, just so we can move on.
All right,
Mark Wahlberg.
burgers. I mean, Wahlburgers, right?
Good
He's got
job.
to be. He's got to be. I mean, if he made a restaurant, there's got to be a reason. Although he probably. I've actually never been. I'm sure
I have not.
you haven't.
I have not.
Oh no, he's got to be burgers. He's got to be. So actually, to go back on me,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people like Mark Wahlberg. He's a pretty fit guy, right?
Hmm.
I consider this a cheat, but every night I have a protein smoothie, and whatever I'm feeling, like I have a million different protein flavors. And most of the time, I'll catch myself. I'll have my protein smoothie, and I have to stop myself from having more. Another one. It's
Hmm.
like that's my sweet tooth craving. It's good in moderation, right? But most of the time, I'm craving more. And some nights I'll just go like that'll be my cheat. I'll have like 5 protein smoothies.
Wow.
Now it probably doesn't. It's probably not worth the time that I spend behind closed doors after that. But it's but I could see Mark Wahlberg just smacking protein shakes too. I don't know,
Yeah. No, that makes sense to me.
but
I put him there so that to see if you'd say burgers. I wasn't certain how hip you were to Mark Wahlberg lore, so I had to throw him in there. But yeah, burgers got to be. I mean, I think it's more Donnie Wahlberg that does the Wahlburger stuff, but
hmm
still, I mean, they wouldn't make it Wahlberg unless they both
I
love it.
didn't know. I did not know that actually.
I think it's more Donnie, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it might be. From what I remember, but
Probably is. Yeah.
honestly, I
Well,
bet. Who knows?
he's definitely he's a burger guy. I don't even
Yeah,
know him.
I know. I don't even know him. I don't know him either. I don't know if it's not going to get up somehow, but I bet he's a burger guy as well. So that was good. Okay, but now getting into more of like some fitness stuff.
Hmm.
Obviously, like you play D1 baseball, and that's kind of I guess what could have steered you into that like wave. But was it like reading like a David Goggins book? What was like the moment you were like, let me take this like very seriously?
So I think from a young age, so high school, really, I actually wasn't even going to play college baseball, and one day I kind of realized that it was my senior year. I wasn't getting recruited. I wasn't very good in high school. I was decent, right, fundamentally, but I realized like, oh, I'm gonna miss this. And then I went to a local community college, and I did really well my freshman year. And all of the Division 1 scouts kept telling my coach like, hey, he's got to put on weight if he wants to play at the Division 1 level. So I got obsessed with working out, with eating, and not in the right way. So like I always tell people if they ask me how long I've been working out, it's been what 9 years now, and really out of those 9 years, it's been three seriously and like a year and a half, 2 years of applied knowledge and really figuring it out. Right. So that's really what turned me on to it at the beginning. And then once I was in Division 1 baseball and started talking to all the pro scouts and whatever, I saw my dream right there in front of me to play pro baseball. And then I tore my hamstring, which really sucked. And I think I kind of tied those two, like the love for not only changing my own body and mind. I've always been like, I've always been into the mindset stuff. And I guess to backtrack even more, one of the first things I ever started listening to was podcasts on just like the daily habits of successful entrepreneurs. Like Tom Bilyeu is his name. He's got a podcast called The Impact Theory that I would listen to every single day. And I always say, like, if somebody could get on a microphone and a camera and change my life, like, why can't I do the same, or at least try to have some kind of impact on somebody? So intertwined with that, and then my love for my, changing my body. And then when I pulled my hamstring, I was like, I can put all of this into play to help people so they don't pull their hamstring, or, like if they want to train for different things and ultimately leave some kind of impact. So long answer for the passion, but
No, but hey, that's what got you started. Just and I like how you kind of like interwove your answer into saying like I guess like the inspiration behind why, but then also like the inspiration behind like the way you go about it as well. It's not so much like, well, this is what got me into fitness, but this is also what got me into making things in this form because you want to like transform someone's life as like it's been done for you, you know? So
totally. And it's as we said, it's so much more mental than it is physical. And I mean, if I've got somebody that comes in to me and says, "Hey, let's say they're 350 pounds and they want to lose, 150 pounds," well, the first thing I'm gonna do is not go into the gym. I'm not gonna give you a bunch of movements. The first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna walk through 2 weeks to a month of like working together on positive affirmations. Like, you need to believe that you can do something before you do it. And unless you can go in the mirror every morning, give yourself a high five, like there's so many weird little things that some people might think it's like it's a little woo woo, but it works, and our brain is able to take that mold and then apply the physical stuff after the mental. So that's it really did start with the podcasts and self-confidence thing, which to me is doing things doing the things you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do them, right? And
yeah,
that's
I was just
self-confidence
gonna
101.
I was just gonna ask like what's like a biggest or like a couple pieces of advice when it comes to like getting your mentality in the right space to do whatever you gotta do. It's not just like physical, like it's not just going to the gym, but like with whatever you're doing, like what are some of the best things that you found that you can gear yourself?
I I think it's really, I mean, we've all had those days that you're like, we so number one, everyone says, "Hey, I'll start someday," or like I'll start on Monday, and then Monday comes, "Oh, I'll start tomorrow," right? And it's like, and the whole idea of instead of starting someday, I'll start, or instead of starting one day, it's starting on day one. And when you set that day, you just fulfill the promises with yourself, right? And then we've all had those days where you get going, and then the day comes that you're like, "Hey, I don't want to go to the gym," but if you do it anyways, on those days, if you feel, "Hey, I don't want to do this," if you just go through the motions, like it's okay. Like, we're all going to go through the motions at some point. You're probably going to walk out feeling a lot better about yourself, about the fact that you did it, right? Like, all these things kind of compile. So I think it's ultimately that. I think one thing that helps me with that, just from a fundamental level, is the whole idea of the lists. And as you saw, I'll show you, like, right here with everything that I checklist off, right? So write it down the night before, get your brain going to say, "Hey, like, this is what I'm thinking about we have to do the next day," and then you cross it off as you do them, right? So sometimes I'll even take it a step further. I'll block schedule it out. So if I, like today, if I have a lot of stuff to do, I'll write the times, put it over here, and then on that time that it ends, if I'm not done with that specific task, I'll move it to the next day, or like finish it up and later, like, and then block out the time, right? Follow the schedule. So it all goes back to the same idea of doing the things you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do them. And then there's weird things like giving yourself high fives or positive affirmations. I'm a big into meditation. Like, there's having a center to come back to. I mean, I could nerd out on this stuff all day long,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the simplest answer is just, if you say you're going to wake up at 6 a.m., do it. Those 20 minutes of snoozing that you're going to do are not going to benefit you in any way. That's something I'm completely guilty of. But, and like, it it suits you better to just do it, right? So
Mm.
that's we could go on and on.
Yeah. Do you feel like writing out the lists like the day, like the night you do it the night before it, right? You said,
Mhm.
does that help you get to sleep? Have you noticed that at all?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't attribute good sleep all the way, to that. But I think, I journal every morning and every night. And part of my journaling thing is like at night when I go to bed, right before I go to bed, I journal out like what went well today. I write everything that's on my mind in like a little thought section. Then I write out like a nightly gratitude thing, and I do kind of the same similar thing in the morning. And then right after I'm done with that, that kind of closes my day. Okay, well now it's on to the next day. What's the next day? Write it all out. It gets your brain like we've closed the day. Now let's start thinking about the next day ahead of time and write everything out, and it gets your brain just like being able to visualize. There's actually research on that where you go to sleep and your brain starts to subconsciously think about the things you have to do the next day, so that it's already in your brain, right? It's
Yes.
on your mind. So
And I feel
um,
like me was like I've not that I've had like trouble sleeping. I just like sometimes I'll have trouble sleeping. It's not like I have like any chronic issues. I just think like at nighttime sometimes my brain starts thinking about the next day and like what I have to do that
mhm.
next day. Or sometimes I'll even be like, well, I could like just make sure that that's all in order right now if I check my phone real quick, and then I can just like order something on Amazon, whatever I need to do, like just something
Yep.
really quick. I'm like, and then my brain gets rolling like that. And I've heard people in the past say, like, when it comes to their sleep, that if they just make themselves write down what they need to do, write down their day's activities, that it could help them out with their sleep. And I've
Yeah.
tried it in the past, and it actually, like, surprisingly, like, just that little thing, just writing stuff down for the next day, just puts someone's brain at ease.
Well, it's the whole idea of journaling. It's the whole idea of getting your thoughts out on paper, right? Like a lot of times we'll find ourselves in situations in life where we're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out. I'm so stressed out, so stressed out." And if you really go to the core of it, and you're like, when I get that way, I literally take out a blank piece of paper and I'm like, "What is stressing me out?" And I write bullet points. And then you get to seeing it on paper, and you're like, "Wait, there's really only like three things that are on my mind." Yes, there's little subcategories to that, but if you write it out, then your brain is able to see it physically, those thoughts, and you're like, "Yo, there's not that much." And then, so to your point, like if you just get it out at night, then now you know what we're looking at the next day. So, um, sidebar: if you do want something to help you sleep, most natural way, stay away from melatonin. We can get into that conversation. The best thing that I have seen to work for me is magnesium threonate. It's
Magnesium. Okay.
Threonate. It's the only form of magnesium that can cross the blood-brain barrier. Literally, the first time I ever took it, it was like you kind of get like a head rush, and then it takes some getting used to. It's almost like you got a little headache, or you've had the pump when you do bicep curls. It's almost like your brain is kind of like, but that's the blood rushing to it.
Really?
And then, but I mean, I track my sleep every night with this little thing and this little thing, and I've seen a difference.
So
So
what's it called again? Magnesium
mag
threonate?
3 and 8, Threonate.
Okay, cool. I got that written down. I might leave this up
Oh,
actually. Today.
little hacks.
Yeah, little hack. So actually, let's just get into that, what you said about the melatonin thing. So because as I just said, I've had some issues sleeping in the past. So obviously
Hmm.
the first thing people say is like get melatonin. So I get melatonin, and I started using it like on like a nightly basis. Like I wouldn't
Hmm.
like, I was one of those people that was like, let me grab a handful and eat eight. I wasn't doing that. Just like if I couldn't sleep and it got to like 2, 3 a.m., I had to wake up at like 6, 7, I'd take one just to put my mind at ease, honestly.
Hmm.
Um, but what is like the issues with it? Because I haven't really taken it in a while, and because I've started to hear some issues, and I just want to know like what.
Yeah. So melatonin is it's naturally occurring within your body, right? It works on a 12-hour cycle. So number one, if it's naturally occurring, we don't want to mess with it on that cycle. So you've heard of the circadian rhythms, right? Like, oh, jet lag, my circadian rhythms all jacked up. Well, a lot of times that's because in the world that we live in, we're so distracted. We're not going to bed at the same time. We're not waking up at the same time. Well, now how is our circadian rhythm ever supposed to get on track, right? So if you have everything in sync, your melatonin starts to formulate the same cycle. Well, if you and backtrack a little more, fundamentally, melatonin research shows it has one of the most inaccurately labeled supplements on the market, anywhere from 14% to 300% inaccurate. And that's because the FDA, there's so many different little things that you just have to meet certain simple qualifications, the FDA, and then you can really do whatever you want. So I think, I mean, when I've taken it before, and I'll give you the only time that I would recommend it. And actually Andrew Huberman talks about this all the time. And also melatonin is one of your growth hormones. So that's one of the things contributing to recovery, to feeling good, to, right, like so many natural processes happen when you sleep. But the melatonin is you've had that groggy feeling when you wake up, right?
Yeah.
With melatonin, that's because your melatonin, your cycle. If you took the melatonin, you're probably taking it right at the end of your cycle, and then you were spiking another cycle, and now you're like waking up still wanting to go to sleep because you still should be asleep because your body is like, oh, what the heck's going on? So to piggyback, the only time that it's really recommended, and the research I've read and seen, is if you're flying across the country and you have or like for you, if you're going from Boston to Hawaii, or if you're going international, right? It's a huge time difference. Okay, let's get our body adjusted. Like if you're flying and it's the nighttime, you're going back in time. Let's take some melatonin and get our body sped up, right?
I
So
see. Yeah.
little nerdy things. But then again, on the magnesium threonate, it's one of the only things that I've really seen. Like, hey, I can wake up and I'm ready to go,
Yep.
and instead of that grogginess, it's like it's different. I've recommended it to multiple people, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I love this stuff."
Yeah. Is
So
there any other like like a vitamin or maybe like it's just something else like magnesium threonate that you have taken that you're like, wow, this actually like is pretty impressive.
yeah, so I think, I mean, just from a fundamental level, I think on the essential supplements that I would recommend, like number one, I think everybody should have a multivitamin or a micronutrient type supplement. So for me, that's a greens powder, and I think I don't know if we were talking about it, but I'm working on my own greens powder right now. So hopefully that gets out by September. But so that's one thing. Fish oils, we don't get enough good omega 3s in our diet. And then honestly, creatine. There's a lot of research. Everyone thinks, oh, take creatine, you're going to get huge. Like that's not how it works. If you lift to get huge, you'll get huge using creatine, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of research on it that shows improved cognition, lots of longevity on the brain. So and that's anywhere from 2 to 5 grams a day for the average person. But I mean, as far as like I take those every day, so that's kind of hard to pinpoint.
Mhm.
The magnesium sometimes, like if I feel like hey, I'm doing good, then I won't take it. But I actually didn't take it two nights ago, two nights in a row when I was in Vegas. My recovery was like 57% both nights, and then this morning it was like 77. So interesting.
So that's what the Whoop does. It tells you all that.
Yeah, so it gives you all kinds of this and the Aura ring. They they go into your HRV, your deep sleep, your REM sleep, light sleep. I mean, it's crazy. It's kind of scary how much data they have on you.
Yeah, I get.
But
I mean, they hopefully they ain't using it. I mean, what do they use that for? You know, it's like, well, like Nick Walker's getting 67% REM sleep right now.
it's somewhere.
Who knows? Yeah, I mean, but I
Heart
think
rate.
that's a thing that I think I've grown okay with kind of getting away from like the fitness space. When it comes to like things having my information, like if I am logging onto a website and they're like, "Do you accept our cookies or whatever?" I'm like, okay, like like
Yeah.
fine. I think I've grown up to be like I don't like I'm not doing anything sketchy. I'm just being me. Like and if anybody were to come up to me in the street and survey me on what I've most recently I'd be like, okay, here you go, because I think I've omitted a lot of my personal space, and I wonder like you're a little bit older than me, not much, but a little bit. Is it the
Mhm.
same for you? Do you feel like have you like omitted some of that space, some of that privacy?
Oh yeah. I mean, look at the life that I live. My
Yeah,
like
well,
when when my entire life is on social media for everyone to see, I'm in a very vulnerable position, right? So if you take that on my own level, which we've talked about, I've had my own issues with people following me, stalkers,
Always.
etc. Um, but you know, I have to use these things, so it's like I don't even cookies. Okay, like it's not even
Yeah.
like it's automatic.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. I
yeah,
always,
I mean,
because I know like my parents, like they won't use anything because of like, for them, it's like all their information. I'm like, what are you guys looking up? Like, do you guys
yeah,
even, like, is your app usage that like important? Like, maybe it is. Maybe I'm
yeah.
wrong. Could be wrong.
Well, it's also, I mean, you could look at it as scary, cool, whatever, but like the generations growing up now, it's like we all have smartphones, we all have social media. It's like we're all supposed to omit, but like if you're really like, I don't know if you've ever taken a deep dive into like the Facebook terms, but it gets pretty wild in there.
Yeah,
But
they can send your information all over the place.
oh yeah,
And
but
like, and I know that's another thing with like targeted marketing, in like ad space. It's like if you're talking about like, oh, I want these Timberland boots, I want these Timberland boots, and then it pops up on your feed. Like, yeah, that is weird. But like, it's also
I'm blaming you tomorrow when I get a
when
Timberland
you get a Timberland ad, you will.
commercial.
But it's like it's one of those things that like if I was asking someone about Timberland boots all day, and then it just so happened to pop up my feed, and I'm like, oh, those are the exact boots I wanted. Like, is that the worst like thing in the world?
Yeah.
I get the fear. I really understand. I read 1984. I get it. Like there's a lot of dystopian like ideas out there, but like if me saying something and then it popped on my feed, that ain't the worst thing. It
Yeah.
can't. It can't be.
Yeah. There's a lot worse things that could be in our face and happening to us, right? So
Right.
I
Right.
agree. Yeah. It's helpful. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's helpful to them too. They're taking my money.
Yeah. So it's like in another way, it's like I know what did they say? It's like if it's a free product, you're the product. You ever heard that?
It's a free product.
If the
You're the
product is
product.
free, then you are the product. Then you
Yeah.
are. Yeah. It's like if you're using something for free, then that means they're using your information and sending it wherever, and like that's how they're
Yeah.
making money because it's free.
Huh.
Um, it's like and I just feel like that would just basically be like an even exchange in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Even like someone like following you. It's like we don't see it as malicious on lower scales, but like on a grand scale, we do sometimes because it just seems bigger. But like if it's one person, like say like you have like a huge following, and like it's free to follow you in a lot of ways, like that's just what it is. Then
Mhm.
a lot of like the people that are looking at the stuff you do, it's like they're maybe like a protein shake that is like sponsoring you. Maybe they go then buy that. It's like at that point they have become like the product, like that person
Yeah.
that. So and I don't know why I'm even talking about it. I don't even know why it's coming up, but like I just feel like you like to like think like that too. So I just
Yeah. It's deeper level, right?
yeah,
It's like what is really happening to us and what's really being fed to us that it's like it's almost to a point that it's subconscious, right? And
yeah,
I think that's like when I talk about a world that we live in that is so distracted from everything, it's like that is what we're talking about. We are like, why do we go to bed and want to be on Amazon ordering anything aimlessly, right? Like I do it too, right?
yeah.
But it's just that's the subconscious, and I don't know. It always intrigues me to think back like 100 years ago, like what were they doing? They weren't going to bed at 2 a.m., right? Like
Yeah.
they were in bed when the sun went down, got up when the sun went up,
Yeah.
and without any distraction. I don't know, but
I think about that too. Like, what were they? And because we have phones, but then the phones also like have connected us just so deeply to other people and like things
oh
and
yeah,
events. And like, we know everything that's going on. Like, if there's like a rooftop bar that's having a margarita night, like everyone knows about it. And you can just go and everyone's getting margaritas. What did they do? Like, what did they do?
so I heard an interesting perspective. Literally, it was on a podcast I think 2 days ago that I was listening to, and he was talking about how the stupidest thing in the world is the perspective of time and how we use 24 hours as a day. He's like, 24 hours of the day came up when it took weeks to send a letter. We now live in a world that we can send that exact same letter in less than a second and it be delivered to somebody. Like, why would we continue? And so, like, what's the solution for him, right? And he talks about living his day in thirds. So he lives three
Yeah.
8-hour days. So the first 8 hours is he's on with his family, faith, fitness, and business. And then the next 8 hours is, or I think it was more, the family is the second 8 hours, and then the last 8 hours is something else, and like it's sleep.
Mhm.
So it's just an interesting, like, hey, you could have 3 days every day,
Yeah,
right? I don't know.
if you just want to think of it that way, like you can
Yeah,
just start thinking of it that way. That makes
but
sense.
it is an interesting perspective to think that we live our lives based on everything that was thousands of years ago, right?
It's
But
arbitrary. It's like it's made up. We made it all up. Like that's a big thing.
and
That
then
was a big struggle with me as like a teenager. Like I'm now like I'm only like 3 years removed, but as like
yeah.
from like 13 to 19, like when I was trying to figure out like when like you wake up, like did you like wait feel like you woke up at a certain age? You're like, wow, I can finally like I'm like a real person now. Did that ever happen to you, or you just feel like it was slow?
I don't know if I can pinpoint the exact moment, but I feel like I can remember a wave of just like, hey, I'm gonna take my life more seriously.
Exactly what that is.
Yeah.
And then like
And it
your
was
answer,
I mean,
you know,
yeah.
your thoughts mean
And you
more. Everything means more.
yeah, and you get more curious and you get more like, yeah, no, that's an interesting thing to think about.
Well, I think of that as waking. Like I woke up, and like that's when I woke
Yeah.
up. Really doing like nothing was really ever really happening beforehand because I didn't understand the seriousness or like just the reality of it. And I think during
Yeah.
and then that time when I was like waking up is when I was contemplating like we really just made all this up. Like we just made it
Hmm.
all of it, all the numbers, everything. What's my favorite example? We'll take this. This was always my favorite example. Like this is how we know we made everything up. You see how this is like a defined thing?
Uh-huh.
It's a defined amount of space. It takes up, it's finite. It's not infinite, you know? But the amount of ways we could describe this in terms of numbers is beyond infinite. It's infinite, infinity times over. Because our numbers are all messed up. You could just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper if you wanted to. Because we made it up, because we made it
Yeah.
up. And so it is an improper way to describe this finite thing. And it's only finite in our dimension too, who knows. But like in the end it's finite and we can describe it infinitely. So in that sense it's broken, you know? And I remember
Whoa, yeah.
when I had that thought, I was just like I thought about it with a water bottle. And I was just like, because you can only fill a water bottle with so much water, but you can describe it in infinite ways. So our descriptions are all off. And once that's off, once that's broken, something so small and fundamental, I just wonder how much is like broken, you know? And does that even like,
But then it all reverts back to like it's all based on systems, right? Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
numbers, it's all system. Like everything is a system. And if you want me to get deep on you, like our lives are systems. Like if you
Yeah.
want to live like what I talk about, right? Like it's living a system. Find your system that works for you. But to your point, it's like, how do you know if it's like, yes, the system working or is it not?
I was
You're messing me up, man.
okay, we'll finish it with this then. I think the systems in that sense, they work in different sizes. It depends on the size. It's like what is it? Like Einstein's theory of relativity. If I'm not mistaken,
Hmm.
it's just the idea that like at a certain scale things are acting a little differently. Like I think that's just like and like the quantum physics, his whole idea with quantum physics was about that. Like, all right, well at that like we always thought like, oh, physics works this one way, but at really large scale and at really small scale it doesn't because that's just what it is. And I feel like a lot of our like even our daily life systems, something that works for you for a day won't work for you for a week or won't work for you for a month or for a year or whatever. So you got to
Hmm.
find something that is manageable throughout a day and is very productive throughout a year.
What's sustainable? Yeah, the sustainability aspect.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And that's that 1%, like be 1% better every day. It's that exact thing.
Yeah, and it's again like what works for me isn't going to work for everybody. And like my morning routine is crazy intricate. But if for somebody that's just like, hey, I'm going to wake up, shower, go on a 30-minute walk, and then I'm coming home and eating or whatever, not even that
Yeah, whatever
exquisite,
it is.
just like whatever works for them, right? And that is, and you got to be sustain, especially when you're getting started. Like if you're somebody that's just about to get going and like wants to work towards a goal, it's like the sustainability aspect is the biggest piece because if you get burnt out, you're never going to want to do it. And then
Mm.
we get stuck in our old ways, right? And that's old patterns are easy, new patterns are hard. And those new patterns are what make us uncomfortable and kind of add up to that 1% over time.
That's very true. Very well said too.
Mhm.
Actually, very well said.
Thank you.
That's a clip. That's a clip in the making.
Yeah.
I was so okay. Now we're gonna go do another segment. So you're again you're a guy that's built a little something for yourself. So whether it's happened already or it's going to happen soon, people will start coming up to you and being like, "Yo, I got this idea, I got this sick idea." Um,
Mhm.
and they'll pitch it to you, and you'll be like, "That's kind of a dog shit idea," but so I can't
Yeah.
help. But or you'll say that's dope, but still won't help you. Whatever it may be. So I'm gonna throw some, or at least I'm gonna start with one. We'll see if I get to two and three or whatever. But I have these pitches, right?
Okay.
We're gonna treat this like Shark Tank ish. So I'm not gonna ask obviously it's not real. So we're not gonna do no numbers and no percentages and no nothing.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna pitch an idea and you have to say whether you're in or you're out. Okay?
Okay.
That's just the idea.
No,
Okay.
no explanation. I'm just in or out.
You can ask plenty
All
questions,
right.
whatever you want
All
to do.
right. All right.
Take it as serious or unserious as you'd like. Just know
Let's get creative.
these were born in a weird space, these ideas, okay? So this first one is called barcodes. Okay. So it's a bar, right?
Mhm.
And you walk in the joint. It's like a restaurant idea. And everything in there is like QR codes, right? And so like the menus, all QR codes. Every cup has a QR code on it. Every seat's got a QR code. And you're like, what do all these things do? The menus will obviously lead to menus and stuff like that. But on every cup that they get, they scan it and it brings them to like a funny video or like an article, something random on the internet. Every seat brings you to something random on the internet. Everything in there is like designed and like put a barcode on to bring people to random places on the internet. And every like week it is like they're all taken out and subbed out with something new, something brand new. And yeah, so that's the idea. That's barcodes. What are your thoughts on barcodes?
What's is the main goal to profit? Is the main what's the main goal?
Main goal is to profit. We want people to go in there. We want to make some money. We want people to, they scan the menus, they're really excited, the chairs are scanning shit, but we want them to have a good time. We want people to go in there and have a good time. Everyone's on their phone anyway, is what I'm thinking at other bars. So we might as well give them something funny to do. Maybe like have it be like a collaborative thing. Everyone's looking at this one, maybe this one gets a lot of traction. Everyone walks into barcodes and is like, yo, scan the one on the back right. It's crazy. It's like this gorilla beating up a fox or something. I don't know.
I like it, but I think that people are so preoccupied with whatever's on their phone already that like
Mm.
even if they were like, hey, this gorilla is really funny and hilarious and cool or whatever, they're just gonna show them instead of them going to scan the QR code, right? I mean, I guess
Mm.
from like a profitability standpoint, like you make like maybe every time they scan something, it connects to their bill and they like you get charged 10 cents for every, I don't know, but that doesn't really incentivize watching the videos. I don't
Yeah.
know. But then, anyways, I don't know. I think I'm out on that one.
Well, maybe. Let me keep going. Let me try to try a new idea. Maybe it's like it works in like a system of like, okay, you're scanning these barcodes, and if you scan the right like one, and it's hidden in the store, then maybe you get a free drink. And like after like an hour, it like cuts. So like
Kind of
if
like Elf on the Shelf.
yeah, so if someone finds it, they can be like, yo, like maybe not free drink, maybe like half off a drink, half off. So once someone finds it, everyone's going like under this one table to scan to get their free drink. It's like this huge moment. Everyone's buying drinks. You know what I'm
Can you
saying?
picture that? Can you picture everyone in a bar or like restaurant? Everyone's just like upside down, looking at under tables and like picking off the old gum.
It'd be funny. It'd be funny. I don't know if I can picture it, but it'd be funny. Or whatever.
This-
Or maybe you could here I got for profitability. I got you right now. This is the one. When people are so obviously the barcodes get wiped every week. Maybe we reserve like a fourth of the barcodes or like a fifth of the barcodes for sponsors.
hmm.
And like or like someone like a creator can like put their video there. You charge them like whatever, like $100, have your video up for the week, and then they scan it and they brings them to their video, and that's another way for you to make
Hmm.
some profit
Yeah. So then they'd be having to pitch in some money to barcodes
as like
in
endorsement.
hopes. I mean, yeah, and people are going. They're going for the experience, not only of the food and the drink, but the scavenger hunt too.
Yeah, yeah. So that's all I got. That's the only improvement I could make. So this is that's the max capacity of that idea. What do you think? Are you in or you out?
I think I'm still out on that one. I
All
think there's.
right, I
I
get it.
think it's
All right,
conceptually it's a good idea, but we could layer it to make it. There would have to be a lot to go in to organize and make it work.
there's ways to make it better,
It's
probably.
it's very creative and it's
Yeah,
very right. I think there would be. We just have to work out some some kinks and quirks.
yeah, but that's okay. It's we're all I'm really. So my friend always gets mad because he's like, dude, you just like think of something stupid and then just figure it out from there. He's like, you think of a good name and then you just try to work around it. And I'm like, yeah, you got
Funnily enough, that's how my YouTube videos work.
really see,
Figure out a title, make a video around it.
they'll make it work. That's pretty cool, actually. I never would
Hmm.
have thought of that. So, do you want to do one more, or should we
Let's
talk
do it.
about?
Hey, I'm all about the creativity. Whatever
All
you
right,
want.
let's do one more then. Let's do one more then. I'm trying to think of one. That one's one of the better ones. Like usually people kind of like that one and not my other ones. So
Oh,
you did like it, but you weren't into. You're in for a surprise here.
so I'm the bad guy. That's
No,
what
you're
you're
not the
saying.
bad guy. I thought I was giving you something like key. I thought I was giving you like one like okay he's gonna be in on this one, so then I can give you one that you're definitely gonna be out on. But now you're
Hmm.
just so gonna be out on this. It's crazy. Are you ready though? Actually, you
All
might
right.
like this one. I got one. I got one.
Yeah. Hey.
It's called retire. Okay. So it's basically, I'm thinking a nonprofit organization that takes like donations and such. And what we do is this definitely exists, by the way, totally for sure exists. It's just I thought of it and I like the name. It's called Retire. So say like when your tire is like dead, you don't really have anything you can do with it. Like tires don't like they don't burn well. Like you can't do that.
I like it. I like where this is going.
Yeah, you do. So basically, what we do is we take old people's old tires and we repurpose them. We retire it. And so, if ready, here's why I thought of this idea. Ready? So here would be the slogan. It would be retire meant for something new. Retirement. Retirement for something new. That's the slogan. Meant for something new.
What?
Yeah, right. So basically, people are just donating us their tires. They donate us money too, so we can make sure we can like pay people to repurpose these things. And then we have a repurpose store, a little mom and pop shop, nothing big, where we have these little tire. Maybe it's bits and pieces. Maybe we make like new cups or new like things for plants, whatever we gotta do. But we're repurposing these tires, all donated.
So is the cause going to help retired people? Retired.
Sure. Yeah, it is. Now it is. It's
I'm
going
I'm
towards
I'm in.
retired homes. You're in?
I'm in.
Go, go. Let's
So
go.
think about it from this perspective too. There's so many uses for that in the fitness industry. I'm flipping tires. What about the huge tractor tires that need to be repurposed?
It's
Where
so
are those going? Hey, let's take those, refurbish them. We could even put like plates or weights on the inside of them, send them off to a gym,
that's so
and
true.
then you can sell them for profit. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, what is business for? It's to make profit, right? If
Yes.
you stand for a bigger purpose, you're probably going to be more successful, right? Like kind of life in general, like have a purpose, and we can make a daily goal or daily actions towards that. But
Mhm.
I'm just thinking, like there's some. I mean, you could do a lot of. There's a lot of avenues that you could go with that. I think so. Here's the thing of that one compared to barcodes. That one is so overly simplistic that it works,
Yes, yes.
right?
I
It's
knew
like
you'd like that
it's
one. I was
easy.
gonna think about that.
Anyone can understand retire, and then hey, then you put retirement for, and people are like, yo, I'm in. You sold me on retirement.
Yeah, yes. He retired meant for something new. I think that was like the coolest thought I ever had because like the tire's retiring in a lot of ways too from being a tire. It will not be
What
a
do they
tire,
do with old tires?
dude. It's not good. Look into it. Look into it because it's not good. What's the tires? It's rubber. So like, what do you? I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
places do what I would be saying probably. There's a lot of like repurposing. They try to encourage people to repurpose their tires or find a way to like use it as like like the base for your plants or something. But they're ugly, so you have to try to find a way
Yeah.
around that. But yeah, it ain't good. It ain't good. Old tires do not. They don't do much. So a lot of times they just get left abandoned, like in like, if it's like a farm,
Uh-huh.
like somewhere with like a lot of tractors, they don't have anywhere to put those huge tires. They just roll them down the street, like all right, like bye bye tire, and now it's just rotting and killing
Throw
some
them
of
in a river, a lake. Yep.
there's probably more tires in rivers and lakes than there is like fish. Like there's like
Fish.
a lot of rubber. It's like so it's not good to think about it, so much rubber. Like,
maybe
it's not
that's maybe that's where all the tires. Maybe that's what David Goggins eats.
he's eating
Tires.
tires. He's eating
He's
tires.
he's
He's
responsible
swimming
for.
into the water. And he's like, stay hard. Who's gonna carry the tires? He's just like down there. He's finding tires. That'd be sick, dude. That'd be really, really cool. I bet he is. He's a sicko. He's so dope.
I don't get tired.
I don't
Literally.
get tired. I get tires. It's like, oh, okay. Um, but yeah, so you know what, Nick, we're at 3 o'clock. We only would have 5 more minutes. So let me just or 5 to 10. So we're gonna
Yeah.
call it here-ish. But I want to ask you. I asked this to everybody. How was your experience on the DOD-Cast as it was over Zoom?
Hey, when you get to hang out with Danny OD, the one and only, in
Yes,
my
sir.
in my phone is straight savage. It's
Yes,
always a good time.
yes, yeah.
I
Oh my
think,
God.
and I think I'm a little biased just because I know you,
Yeah.
but just like knowing your passion for this, right? And I think we talked about it last time, and I'd absolutely be down to do another one. But like talking on the idea of like content creation, and like if someone's out there that wants to create content, like I told you, like just staying consistent on it. And if you enjoy it, then it makes it easier to put out, right? And that's something that you do very well. So, and then obviously to sit here and experience it with you, it's like it's not like it's just we're having a conversation, and that's what's so cool about it. So I think you're on to something good, and there's just keep going. That's really the name of the game. So
Thank you. Thank you very much. I
of
appreciate that.
course,
Also, I don't know if you want to like, I know not many people watch this as opposed to what you put out, but some of my friends are gonna want to know where you are. So if you want
yeah,
to just like say like whatever your like some of the handles or maybe something that is coming out soon. Like I know we talked about some things. I don't know if that's confidential, but
yeah,
anything that's
no. So I mean, anywhere really, follow me at Nick Walker Fitness. That's on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube are like my big ones. Got Facebook for the oldies, but YouTube and Instagram is Nick Walker Fitness, and Snapchat and TikTok is Nikki_Waka, like Waka Flocka Flame. So,
Waka.
um, yeah.
So,
So yeah, but that's I'll share it. We'll get some people to watch. We'll
yeah.
be here.
Yeah, all right, sounds good, man. Sounds good. I'm excited. Hey, anybody that's here as a Nick Walker fan, welcome, and I appreciate you watching this far in. This was great. I obviously always have a great time talking to you too, man. I'm happy that you enjoyed it. I'm happy you were able to block me in for some time. I know you're a busy guy. We talked about how busy you are, and with all that that you got going on, I appreciate you taking some time out to first of all hang out with us at the Cape, but then also to give me a little bit more of your time. Hopefully we get to see you really
Absolutely.
soon too like
Yeah.
within the next year. I
Hey,
want to.
all the travels that are coming up. I'm going to be on the East Coast, so I'm coming. I'll be I'm eyeballing. So I'll be in Hawaii, August, Charleston, September. Maybe like start working my way up, being like Virginia, Alexandria, like DC area, October maybe, and then maybe I just bomb up to Boston and come hang out. So
Yeah, maybe we could meet you halfway at some point. I think you're always coming to us.
hey,
Maybe we got to meet you. Who
we'll be
knows?
around.
All right, sounds good, man. Thank you so much for
Cool.
doing this. I'm just gonna, you know what? Bye, everybody. I'm just gonna end the